CBSN New York.
All right, Steve Overmyer here alongside the host of Fantasy BFFs on Fantasy Radio, Frank Stamfel. So if you're playing head-to-head baseball leagues, you're always looking for those one-week pitcher rentals. We got to look at the pitchers that you should be streaming for this next week. And I always like to look at pitchers. Obviously, they're going to have 2 starts. This week, the matchups don't seem to favor Daniel Ponce de Leon of St. Louis because he's facing Pittsburgh and Houston. And Pittsburgh was the team he just faced. I'll get back to that in a minute. But look at the ERA that he's come up with so far this year. A 2.80 ERA. His strikeout rate is at 10.44 for 9 innings. Now, he just had a terrible game this last game against the Pirates, it just so happens to be against. But he was also a final, or I guess a last-minute fill-in for Adam Wainwright, who was a last-minute scratch. Still, when you look at his numbers, and he lost that game to the Pirates, you look at his numbers, he gave up 8 hits, and the batting average against him was still only 189 in that game. So I see a guy that's going to be facing a Pirates team that he will have seen just a few days earlier, and a Houston team that clearly has a lot of offensive weapons. But if you don't like what Ponce de Leon gives you after one game, that's the beauty of streamers. You can boot him, and you don't even need to see him for that Saturday start, and you can still pick somebody else up. That's why I like going with the streamer that's going to be on Monday, because if he fails, you can go and grab streamers on Tuesday as well.
Yeah, and I think that makes a lot of sense, what you mentioned, that he was kind of thrust into that start against the Pittsburgh Pirates, now gets to face them again, and you look at what that Pirates lineup has done over the past week or so. They're like 27th, 28th in OPS, so I think he's going to have some success here against the Pirates the next time around. Really fastball-reliant pitcher, but a really strong pitcher in the minor leagues last season. He's got a high chase rate this year, gets opposing batters to chase outside the strike zone at an above-average rate this season. And, the Houston Astros have never seen him before. He pitches in the National League Central with the St. Louis Cardinals. So the fact that they haven't seen him probably favors Daniel Ponce de Leon.
And what you want out of a streamer, you're probably not going to get ERA and WHIP to help you out. You want strikeouts and hopefully a win, and maybe this guy will be able to give that to you. You've decided to go as a streamer, a guy that's going to be starting off against maybe the best team in all of baseball, the Yankees.
Yeah, my New York Yankees, of course. You don't really want to stream against the Yankees usually, but I did notice that they struggle against left-handed pitching so far this year, Steve. Really weird split for them because they have a lot of right-handed batters in their lineup, but when it comes to Martin Perez so far this year, he's got a 20% strikeout rate, and he's using a cutter this season that he hasn't normally ever used before. It's a new pitch that he just started using this season, using it 33% of the time, and according to Fangraphs pitch values, it is the second most valuable cutter in the league behind Yu Darvish. So I'm looking at this matchup against the Yankees and the fact that they struggle against left-handed pitching. And then later on in the week, he goes up against the Chicago White Sox. Not really a lineup that I'm scared of. One of their best hitters, Eloy Jimenez, a rookie in that lineup, landed on the IL just recently, so he's not going to be in the lineup for that matchup. And I'm looking at all these things coming together. The fact that his fastball velocity is a career high this season, up over 94 miles per hour. And, in years past, he was 92.7 miles per hour with that fastball. So the uptick in velocity, the use of that new cutter, and the fact that I think that the matchups are pretty favorable, even with the Yankees on the schedule, all adds up to a pretty good stream for Martin Perez.
You have to look at the numbers of what he's put together with that cut fastball. The cut fastball obviously dives into maybe a different direction than a typical fastball. So maybe when he's seeing, all of these right-handed hitters, they're seeing the ball attack the strike zone at a different angle. Well, listen, if you think you like all of our streamers and our one-week rentals, we're going to be taking a closer look at the hot and cold players in our next segment.